Alright guys, I'm back with the build as promised. We're going to go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. So this was something that took me 2 attempts to accomplish. The first thing I wanted to do was I knew I had to get some big damage out quick in bursts. I couldn't rely on any dot builds that I use for leveling. I couldn't even rely on the evoker build because although it does big damage, it does have some cast time if you don't get those instant procs. So what I went with was a Shadowbolt Ranger build, basically. I picked up Shadowbolt, Corruption, gave myself Arcane Intellect and Power Word Fortitude for my first spells. Now, for the rest of them, what I went with was Vampire Lord, because I was going to be dealing some shadow damage and wanted as much self-healing as I could get. I grabbed Mass Entanglement, which is specific for this challenge, as you'll see by watching the run-through video. The Gallywix boss in the tower in the Barrens has two mobs that don't scale, so they're stuck at level 25, so you need to be able to root them in place to take one down and then the other, because with both of them hitting you on Nightmare, you're done. Blood Arrow, again, instant cast, does a great deal of damage at low levels and also heals you pretty decently. Shadow Arrow is key to this build because I can't wait for 2 Shadowbolt casts, so what I would do is cast Shadow Arrow once, which procs Shadow Trance instantly, letting me cast a Shadowbolt. That's the big 1-2 punch that takes down most of these bosses. Shadow Artillery I picked up because just in case I needed a bit more instant cast damage, it does an AoE sort of damage attack. It's really great and I like it. I didn't get much use for it because the Shadow Arrow Shadow Bolt combo was pretty much useful for most of it. Flame Tongue weapon, key to most of my builds because I like stacking it on 2 weapons, giving myself that spell damage bonus. That goes up with the elemental weapons talent here by 60%, followed of course by stacking 3 elemental weapon mystic enchants for a further 60%. So big brain math, that's 120% extra bonus spell damage you get from Flame Tongue weapon, doubled because it's on 2 weapons. So that's pretty cool, great at low levels and absolutely key to many of these challenge builds I have. Also, because of those scaling mobs that rather don't scale, they're stuck at 25 while you're at 21. I noticed on my first attempt there was no hitting them with spells. So, in order to get any hits in on them, I grabbed Accuracy, which increases my hit chance by 5%, followed by Combat Expertise, which gives me a further 3%, and also increases my stamina by 6%, and who's going to complain about a little extra health? At low levels, as you know, scaling is whacked, so that's more than enough hit chance to take those guys out. Nightfall, of course, because I want those instant cast shadow bolts. Nightfall's Promise gives me a little bit of extra damage, which, hey, that's key. Dark Arrows, again, more extra damage. Elemental weapons we went over. Backlash, because another extra shadow bolt cast if you're starting to get hit in melee or anything like that. Plus, the extra crit is nice. I grabbed Unbounded Death Healer because I always kind of err on the side of self-heals and survival when I'm trying new builds, so I don't know if this is necessary. You can probably swap that out for something else because the self-heals were more than enough, and although there was one mistake I sort of made by rushing through on the tower for Gallywix, as you'll see in that video, I didn't really need to self-heal. So that's pretty much that for the build. As far as attacking anything, open with your Shadow Arrow first, and then immediately hit it up with a Shadow Bolt because this procs instant cast Shadow Bolt. Corruption I didn't even use, so that. And Shadow Artillery again, that's just, I think I used it on Gallywix himself because he's the only elite in this entire challenge. These extra things, other than Mass Entanglement, just came with the territory as I'm rolling. Of course, when I'm rolling my talents, I wanted to go with some crit and I wanted to go with a bit of spell damage, but I didn't pay much attention to it because, as you know, you really only need one spell to level up to 70, so as long as you maintain that mindset that you cannot kill a beast, you cannot kill a critter, and you can't have a pet, this is a pretty simple challenge once you figure out Gallywix's tower. Alright guys, well, thanks for sticking around, thanks for checking out the build, and I hope that this really does help with some of these challenges, and it gets you some neat stuff. You know, look, I leave a trail of flowers, so if you've seen anybody running around leaving that behind and you wondered how to get it, it's this trial, and now I hope you have an easy way of obtaining that for yourself. Alrighty, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.